Right now, I have to stop saying.
Coming up on the DLLS Stars Pregame Show ahead of Game 2 of the Western Conference Final, we'll talk to Sam. We will see if Luds gets off his phone.
Nope.
And we will talk some hockey right here on the DLLS Stars Pregame Show. It starts right now.
Get ready, boys.
This is the DLLS Stars Pregame Show. Our Stanley Cup playoff coverage is brought to you by Bud Light. Bud Light, easy to drink, easy to enjoy. Enjoy responsibly. And by Happiest Hour, your home base and the best place to catch the NHL playoffs and cheer on the Dallas Stars. Just steps away from the AAC. The ultimate spot with 50-plus beers and 40-plus TVs for all the big moments every single game day. Happiest Hour, your favorite spot for the Stanley Cup playoffs. Good evening, everybody. Welcome to the DLLS Stars Pregame Show. As we get ready for tonight's action, we have Craig Ludwig. I'm Owen Newkirk. We have our producer, John Andersen, and, of course, Sam Nestler from the AAC. Before we get to that, though, not only do we want to welcome in all of our viewers on YouTube and on Victory Plus, but we have a new contest for everyone. That's right. The Ball Knower bonus is back, and we have a new challenge. You can win a gift card to the ALLCITY merch store if you make your pick correctly. Here's how it works. First, pick the winner. Start by picking if you think Mikkorantanen will record a point in Game 4 at Edmonton. Then you make a purchase. Browse our store, make a purchase of at least $25 or more. The max on this is $250. Make a purchase, then you can win a gift card. If your pick wins, you'll win a gift card for the same amount as your original order. The most important thing is you must click on our link, which should be in the YouTube description, and I believe John is putting it in our chat as well tonight, to bet and get your gift card. So do you think Mikkorantanen will register a point in Game 4 on Tuesday night in Edmonton or not? Well, then make your pick, place an order, and if you pick correctly, you're going to get a gift card from us for the same amount as your order. That is the Ball Knower bonus. And by the way, one of the shirts that you could buy or win, depending on how you go for it, that Jake Oettinger, look at that. It is beautiful, brand new Otter t-shirt released during the broadcast on game number 1 the other night. And I can't wait for ours to come in because that is spectacular. Really well done. All right. Oh, thank you. Barely. What's this barely nonsense, Luds? I believe that is awful. On time for barely. I had time for a drink. I posted some videos on the Stars Twitter account. It's barely nonsense. All right.
I'm stuck. Hey, John, can you put Otter's shirt back up there?
It's in the lower corner.
Well, really? Is it that difficult to put a full shot up there? I'm just saying, if you look at that shirt, wouldn't it be, not that it's not cool.
Oh, you have notes.
No, what if there was a puck in its mouth?
Ooh.
I'm just saying.
Eating. Like he eats pucks.
Well,
like
he
John,
does. He's
John
been doing-
Davidson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
JD. Yep. All right, you can take it off now.
JD's goalie
Thanks,
school,
Luds.
where you eat pucks
All right,
and
thank you, John. I
Want to switch
appreciate
seats tonight?
Little off.
He'll
track.
find the moose, that's for sure. All right, let's get to Sam, who's over at the AAC, our very own Sam Nestler. Sam does not have a puck in his mouth, which is good because he has to be able to speak. Sam, not a lot of indicators about lineup news for the Stars today because of the fact that they did an optional both yesterday and today. So is there anything that you can glean about how the Stars are going to line up tonight compared to Game 1?
Yeah, like you said, I don't think we're going to get anything anyway, but I think Pete DeBoer is going to pretty much keep that quiet on his end. But for me, it's mostly an intuition thing, but Colin Blackwell did come off really early today. I know it was an optional, but it's different than normal. He's usually out there late with Maverick Fork and some of the guys that are going to be scratches, but he came off pretty early. So for me, the reason I look at it as potentially a move is because if I was Pete DeBoer, I probably would do the same thing. I think the Edmonton speed was just very, very apparent in Game 1. And not that Oscar Beck did anything wrong. I don't think he deserves to necessarily be pulled out of the lineup. but Colin Blackwell's come in. I think he's missed the game once in both of the first 2 rounds. Come in and been excellent. We know he had the overtime winner in the first round. I think his speed is a little bit better than Oscar Beck's, and his ability to keep up with the pace. So if I was Pete DeBoer, I would probably do that and slide him in on that fourth line. I would love to see the Stars go with the Finn line, the Marchment, Duchesne, Sagan line, the Robertson with Johnston and Dodonov, and then Ben, Steele, and Blackwell. That's how I would line it up tonight. Just kind of spread things out a little bit more. We saw Marchment, Duchesne, Sagan get put back together in that late in game one. I think the lines that we saw start the game are probably not coming back, at least as of now, because I don't think they super worked very well. But that's the only thing I can think of. Other than that, I expect the same lineup here tonight.
The big news of the morning for the Stars involved their general manager, as Jim Nill was named a finalist for the 3rd straight year after winning it the last 2 years. And I'm talking about the Jim Gregory General Manager of the Year Award.
It's just unbelievable. I mean, it was not unexpected at all, right? If you're around this team, even if you're not, if you just watch the NHL, you expected him to be in the finalists. And I think Thomas Harley said it immediately when he was asked about it this morning. Very likely that he's going to win it again. And he seems like the front runner with the finalists. And for Pete DeBoer had the perfect answer this morning. He was asked about this exact thing, and he said, someone asked, if Jim Nill has not done what he has done and been as successful as he is, do you believe you're sitting here right now in the Western Conference Final for the 3rd straight year? And he said, absolutely not. Said, I think that's pretty obvious. The things that Jim Nill has done, you look at the drafting, we've talked about the 2017 draft, talked about drafting Wyatt Johnston and all they did to get him. But the biggest thing with Jim Nill for me, and he spoke about it when he was on our show, Mark Janko spoke about it when he was on our show as well, the trust that Jim has in his staff, right? It's one thing to be an incredible general manager and make really smart decisions like Jim does. But the other side of it is Jim believes in his staff. He believes in his scouts. He believes in his assistant GMs. He believes in his coaching staff. And the ability to have that trust and really generally value the input is just incredible. And I think that Jim did an amazing thing. We know the Black Aces that go in the playoffs and travel with the team, like Ben Frost is doing now from the AHL. But in 2020, Jim opted to send Jason Robertson, Thomas Harley, and Jake Oettinger into the bubble in that bubble run. And that was obviously super unique to be in the bubble, be in there for 60-something days that they were in that bubble. You're there all day long. You're stuck with your teammates. The team bonding just can't be replaced. And Thomas Harley said it really launched his career. It built his confidence. It allowed them to see what it takes to win in that situation. And they obviously made a run all the way to Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Finals. So it was kind of the perfect learning experience for these guys. And now we're fast forward, 5 years, and they are the core of this team and the biggest players basically on this team. And I just think that value is incredible. And for me, Jim Nill has just, every single time you think he can't make a better decision, he does. And Pete DeBoer was asked yesterday about how much input he has in terms of trades and moving people up from the AHL and decisions like that. He said, look, I have a ton of voice. Jim likes to hear what I have to say. But does Jim Nill need Pete DeBoer to tell him that mikkorantanen is a great player? I don't think so. So credit all around. Congratulations to Jim. I believe he's going to win it again, and that's pretty incredible. I'm not sure the last time someone won it 3 years in a row. So truly amazing feat for Jim Nill.
Finally, what are you expecting from the other side? Because while the Stars found a way to get their game and get the win in Game 1, Edmonton thought they played a near perfect game for 40 minutes.
Yeah, and 5-on-5, they were the better team, right? It was that power play situation in the beginning of the third period that completely turned the game on its head. And Edmonton, I think there was a picture of Draisaitl and McDavid after the Stars scored that 6th empty net goal from Esa Lindell, who I don't know if you heard, I don't remember if it's yesterday or today, but Pete said Esa seems to be just dead accurate with that long shot into the empty net. He said as soon as it was on his stick, he knew it was going in. But meanwhile, Esa's in the offensive zone, and Pete's not sure if he can even hit the net from there. So it was just hilarious stuff from Pete DeBoer about Esa, but he really is just incredibly accurate. I believe it's his birthday today, turned 31, as well as Leah from the Dallas Morning News. Got some birthday pie up here for you, Owen, when you get here. But for Edmonton, there was a shot of them right after that goal of Draisaitl and McDavid, and they just looked like this isn't happening again. That's the face, and it was a similar face we've seen from Nathan MacKinnon. And after that, usually those next games, those players took it to another level. And for just anyone that watched Game 1, if there's another level of Connor McDavid and Leon Draisaitl, I'm not sure anybody in this arena wants to see it, because they were incredible in game one. Their speed was just all over the ice, especially Connor McDavid. So look for them to take it up a notch, be even more motivated, because like we said last round, once you get up against teams this good, it's really hard to come back. And from 2 games down, if the Stars are able to win here tonight, it is a very, very tall task for Edmonton to win 4 of the next whatever games to win the series. So I expect them to be even better. And I asked about, I'm not trying to do that right now. I asked a bunch of different players about defending Connor McDavid over the last 48 hours. And pretty much every answer started with, you don't really defend him. There's no player on earth like him. There's no one that has his speed. There's no one that has his unique speed with the puck, which is what makes him so much better, is that he doesn't slow down. He sometimes even speeds up when he has control of the puck. And specifically, I asked Thomas Harley today about when you see him coming at you full speed in the neutral zone, because there was one play in game one where Harley had a full, basically neutral zone, blue line to blue line gap on him, but he still had to turn his hips and skate forward to try to catch up with him. And he didn't even catch up with him. He still got beat to the outside. So Harley, CC, Oscar Beck, everyone I asked basically said, look, you don't try to take him away. You're not going to stop him. But what you can do is take away his best option. And a lot of times on the power play, that means let him float up to the top and shoot from the top of the zone, but don't allow that backside pass to Leon Draisaitl on the back door. When he's coming neutral zone, don't let him beat you to the middle. Force him wide. As much as it's going to still be a scoring chance when he beats you wide, it's a lot less of a scoring chance than trying to get too tight on him and improve your gap, and all of a sudden he cuts to the middle and has a great scoring chance or a great pass to the other side. So it's just going to be really interesting to see how the Stars adjust, because they did not defend him well in game one, and I don't expect him to ever be silent, but the Stars definitely want him to be a little quieter and not have so many times where he undresses a defenseman or beats a defenseman to the outside and has a one-on-one chance on Jake Oettinger.
That's a great scouting report on Connor McDavid, Sam. There's let's see, there's 732 players in the NHL that are going, okay, Sam, we'll do that. We won't let him go here. We won't let him go there. We've all tried. I do have a birthday present for Essa. I got a birthday present for Essa.
Okay.
Essa, when McDavid is coming down on you, don't look down at the puck.
Oh.
That's it. That's all I got to say, and you'll be fine. He had one little clip there in the first period.
Yeah.
Essa kind of got puck watching right there. Yeah. Yeah, it's all that Sam says is true, and nobody's figured it out yet. No one has. So.
Sam, always a pleasure. Save some of that dessert for me. I'll be there shortly.
All right, boys, enjoy the game.
All right, Sam Nestler over at the AAC. Luds, there's a lot to get to tonight, and not just how Sam clearly figured it out, how to deal with Connor McDavid, but let's talk about McDavid and Draisaitl for a minute. They absolutely dominated the first 2 periods of game one. I thought Draisaitl was the best player on the ice, and that doesn't mean it's a slight on McDavid, because he was a close second. But Draisaitl is just that power that he has. I saw a note, he has a point in all 7 of their road games this postseason. 7 road games, he has 11 points, 5 goals, 6 assists. He's not fazed by where he's playing or who he's playing against or who's in the crowd. But it wasn't just his power, because he's physically imposing, but he's also very quick.
He doesn't look like it, though, does he?
No.
He looks like a Mack truck. He's wide, so he doesn't look like he's moving as fast as he is, and he protects the puck well. I mean, he uses his body well, and you can see a lot of times he'll pull up on the half wall, and he just takes one hand off the stick, and he can shield people off of him. And then generally what happens is somebody else wants to come and help. Now he's got the ability to find whoever that player just left. So, and the other thing is he can score from anywhere. I mean, and we probably will see it at one point in the series, hopefully not, but it's amazing when he's on the power play, he can almost be on the goal line and still score on a pass that comes cross ice and still get it upstairs on the short side on a goaltender. So, I mean, everything that he does, but for me, it's his hands and how quick he gets that shot off and how accurate he can be.
So I was asking Sam Steele in the morning availability today 2 things. One, the Sportsnet highlights up in Canada on his goal that got tipped in by Tyler Seguin. One of the analysts suggested that it might have been going wide if not for Tyler's tip in. And Steele said, I don't know about that. He goes, I thought it was going to hit the crossbar. He goes, it was either going to go bar down or it was going to hit it and come straight back at me. He thought. But then I asked him about the first two periods. I said, when Draisaitl and McDavid are playing that well, we've seen this before, but when they're going like that, what do? He goes, you just try to keep doing the little things. He goes, there's not much you can do. They're that good, but you just try to hang in there and survive it and hope that, because they don't necessarily play that way for an entire game or for an entire series. They do have their lulls just like every normal hockey player.
Yeah, they're just few and far in between.
Very.
What you have to do with that is you have to defend those guys with numbers. And that's where all year long I talk about having bodies, and I'm talking about the Stars, having bodies tight together. What you want to do is you want to keep them out of the middle of the ice. And both of them will try to skirt through. They'll try to go through two or three guys, and if you're tight enough, they're going to turn it over. Draisaitl, the one goal that Tyler Seguin tried, or scored, he tried to squeak through that. Who was it? Harley and was it whoever it was? He tries to squeak through that, and there's literally no space. Well, the puck pops off. Tyler picks it up and goes down and score. So they will try to get, and they have success doing it. But you have to defend those two players especially with numbers.
Yes.
You just have to, because it is
difficult. You can't let them do one-on-ones.
But give them the outside. I mean, how many times, they're not often, but the thing with Connor McDavid is he will go behind the net. And you're better off having him go behind the net, circle behind, especially on rush entries, because normally that means you don't have everybody back in the zone. And so if you can get McDavid to go behind the net, and he does go behind the net, you just bought a little time to get, whether it's your fourth forward back or your fifth forward back, now all of a sudden you have numbers back in the D zone to help out a little bit.
Up next in the pregame show, I have some video clips to show you and see Ludz's reaction to some really interesting comments from Tyler Seguin, Matt Duchene, and Corey Perry. Next here on the DLLS Stars Pregame Show.
When you're headed to the Stars game, there's no better pregame or postgame spot than Happiest Hour. Grab a beer, devour some apps, then walk across the street and catch the game. Happiest Hour brings the playoff energy with 40 TVs and a jumbo LED screen that turns game nights into events. Happiest Hour doesn't just do apps, they do happytizers. The Ferris wheel of wings, a jumbo pretzel, a nacho tower, a.k.a. the Grundle Tower, and more. Add that to a full menu of game day favorites, and you've got a playoff spread worth cheering for. Happiest Hour has over 50 beers on tap, signature cocktails, frozen drinks, and beer towers for the table. Join us for Happy Hour, 4 to 6 p.m. on weekdays, and score half off apps and signature cocktails. It's the best value play in Victory Park. Whether it's a weekday or weekend, Game 7 or the offseason, Happiest Hour is our favorite spot. Check them out right down the street from American Airlines Center.
All right, let's talk about Sleeper. It's the best fantasy league platform out there. And of course, you can put your puck or your ball knowledge to the test by picking whether your favorite or least favorite players will have more or less than their projected stats each week. In just mere moments, contain yourself, everybody. Our very own John Andersen is going to make his game picks for tonight. And let me tell you this, he's not holding back. With Sleeper, the more picks you combine, the more you can win, all the way up to 100 times your money. Sleeper keeps you in the loop with instant alerts and breaking news, major injuries. Stay ahead of the game and keep track of league updates in real time so you're always informed and ready to outsmart your friends. If you think you have what it takes, new users can download the Sleeper app and use the code DLLS Stars to get $55 in free entries when you place a $5 contest. You can use that $55 in free entries on any contest. Does not have to be your first, and it doesn't have to be all at once. You can split it up, but you have to place a first $5 contest to do it. See Sleeper's terms of use for details. Currently operational over 25 states. Check out Sleeper today. And now, here's John.
Well, maybe I should hold back after the debacle that was the Sleeper picks for Game 1. But when you go 0-3 on the entry, what you do is you go right back in and you give 4 picks instead of 3.
You double down.
So I'm creating more opportunity for me to be right, also more opportunity for me to be wrong. But as I've stated before, a lot of these entries with Sleeper have to do with game scripts. So with the Stars at home, I'm thinking the Stars are up by a goal or two in the third period. And thus, Jake Oettinger should face a lot of shot. But the Sleeper more or less tonight for Jake Oettinger saves is 27.5, and that is very high. He didn't even face that amount of shots last game. So I'm going to go with Jake Oettinger to record less than 27.5 saves tonight. Second part of the entry here, Miro Heiskanen, he was slinging pucks at the net last night. We're going to go with Miro to record more than 1.5 shots on goal. And, of course, if the Oilers are trying to come back, more opportunities for Esa Lindell to block some shots. So we're going to go with Esa to record more than 2.5 blocked shots. And if the Stars are playing a little defense, maybe a little less opportunity to block some shots for the Edmonton Oilers. So we're going to go Darnell Nurse to record less than 2.5 blocked shots. $10 wins, $76.24. I think that I might have put the wrong number in there. We're actually going to see in a second on the side if that's the correct payout for this entry. But those are the picks for the evening. Back to the show.
Thank you, John. All right, let's talk about some mentality moments in the playoffs. So we're going to start with one of the questions that was full front force of the game the other night. I don't even think that's a real sentence. What did the Stars talk about what was said between the second and the third periods when they were down 3-1 to come out, score 3 power play goals, 5 unanswered, and turn the game around and win 6-3? Well, Tyler Seguin was asked that question post-game after game 1, and he had a fascinating perspective about opportunity in the playoffs. Here's what he had to say.
I think the message right now for all of us is it's been pretty cool to be here 3 years in a row, but you don't get to be here 4 or 5 years in a row, right? So you got to, find ways, different nights, whether it's tonight being down 3-1 or, next game being up 3-1 and finishing 5-1. You can't just, try to respond the next game. And I think that was the message was we got to respond right now. We're at home. They're a great team. They're a great team on the road. We know what it's like playing in their building too. So, as much as we want to steal 2 at home, we're expecting to win 2 at home. So we're excited.
Lutz, I thought that was a great perspective because he's right. Law of averages, teams don't go to the conference final or the Stanley Cup final 4, 5, 6 years in a row. It just doesn't happen. Now, once in a while a team does, and I remember you look at the history books, there was a time when Montreal seemed to do it a lot. There were fewer teams, but they were the class of the league for years and years and years. Edmonton had a run. The Islanders had a run. The Blackhawks in the early 2000s had a run. But it's cyclical. Teams come in and out. So
all those teams won.
So my point is, as Tyler's bringing up, that's a great way to think about it. They have to find ways to get the job done because you can't just expect, oh, well, if we don't, we'll be back here next year.
It's funny because before I pulled in, I was sitting in the parking garage doing a radio thing in the car, and they asked me, why this team? And I said, because over the last 2-3 years, they've been here. They've knocked on the door. And so I believe, and I believe that there's some reasons in that locker room, and Tyler is one of them, along with Jamie Benn. And not to take Matt Duchene out of the equation, but those 2 guys have been here for a long, long time. And you're right. This is the window. And that's why I talk about Jim Nill being nominated again for General Manager of the Year. There were a few years ago, whether it was 4 or 5 years ago, I don't remember. There were people clamoring, we got to make a move, got to do some things. You have to know when the window is open. This is your window. And so the window, I don't want to say it's closing, but it could be closing on a couple players. And so I believe that when Tyler speaks, when Jamie speaks, and those other players, they think of those 2 guys, Jamie and Tyler, and Matt Duchene too. And I don't want to take him out of there, but these guys have been here for a long time, and it's like, let's do it for these 2 guys. I mean, that's the original Bennigans. That's what they're going for. So, but they have the right mentality. When you talk about coming out at the end of the second period and being down by a couple goals, and you're saying, all we got to do is score 1 goal right here, and we're right back into it. We have 50 seconds, whatever it means. But you do baby steps. It's just little things. Let's take care of this, then we'll move on to this. Sometimes the big picture of the parade and everything is for people like us. For those guys, they got to narrow it, and they got to say one at a time. That's why we have a Stanley Cone up here. We just mark off 1 game at a time. We don't jump ahead. And those guys, I think, are in the right mindset right now.
Okay. In that mentality conversation, it came up another question for Matt Duchene and Luds. I thought you'd appreciate how he's and the team, at least saying it to the press, is handling every day, every step of this playoff run.
Over the course of however many years, 16 years, you're in a lot of different locker rooms, even within the same organizations, and you see different characteristics and different things that kind of come and go. And the one thing that's impressed me about this group from day one is just the even keel. Win or lose, play well, play bad, have a great period, have a bad period. It's just right back at it. And I mean, you can probably tell by our body language right now that we're happy we won, but it's not, there's so much work left to do. And that's the focus. And, the end of the day, we have 7 wins left to reach our goal. And until you get that last one, there's no time to sit in a game, win or lose. So I think you give up a first goal, it's water off a duck's back. You just keep going.
And that, Luds, I just think that this goes back to your comment about why this team, while they've been here before, they're not overreacting positively or negatively, or at least trying not to.
Well, they get that because there were situations in the last couple of times they overreacted differently.
Exactly.
And they probably got a little too high at times. And then there's other times they probably got a little too low on themselves. And so that's why you temper your expectations. And, again, they're one game past halfway. That's it. They're one game past getting to where they want to go. And generally that last game to close out a series is always the hardest one for the most part. So they've got a couple of steps to go here. And I think all these guys, like we talk about, they've been here. They've been to this spot. They know what they're supposed to be able to do. And that's why you have these guys in your locker room. So all the young guys that are getting a little giddy about we're here. And especially when they get to the next round, it's like, boys, we ain't got nothing yet. And they can put in all this work. And you could, something can go sideways here. And all of a sudden you're going to go, we got this close again. We didn't get to it. So they understand that because they've been there, done that.
All right, let's talk about the Stars, who they all agree is their best player, Miro Heiskanen. Duchesne was asked about him after game 1. And listen to not only what Duchesne says, but also the little reaction at the beginning of this clip from Seguin. I wanted to talk to Tyler this morning and just sort of get more from that, except that it was an optional and some of those guys were already gone before we went into the room. So we'll have to do it another time. But just listen to this and see just what kind of respect Miro commands from his other veteran teammates.
Yeah, I think
He's so good.
you could see, you could see him at the start of getting him back feels like getting 2 players back. That's just, Harley's a similar type situation. Lindell, like these guys that log those minutes. It feels like you get 2 guys back because of what they can do and the minutes they can log. And I thought in Game 6 against Winnipeg, Miro was maybe the best player on the ice. And he was, great again tonight. We depend a lot on him, and we're a very deep team up front and on the back end. And so we could, manage without him. But when you get a guy like that back, it shows a lot. And he was he's trending in the right way for us for sure, and it's definitely been an injection into our into the lineup for sure.
Between the sort of mumbled "he's so good" from Seguin and then the little nod and continuing on from Duchesne, it's like getting 2 players back. What an incredible compliment.
Yeah, well, it's true. Like he changes the complexion of a game. He changes your coverage from an opponent's standpoint because of the way that he skates and he moves his feet and he can skate past people. And you can't break Miro Heiskanen down with one guy. Look on the other side. We just got done talking about number 97. You can't face that guy for the most part with one guy. You need numbers. And so now all of a sudden they're both kind of guys that they can break down the coverage. And as they're doing that, they're surveying everything that's ahead of them. So when coverage breaks down on the second player, the first one Miro just skates by. The second one that has to come to him eventually. Now, when he comes from here, it means somebody over here is open and he already knows where he's coming from. And then generally you see him move that puck. And if he does it, which he normally puts the puck right on the tape, and if he gives it to one of the good players, they're all good. But what'll happen then all of a sudden there's a 3-on-2 created or there's a 2-on-1 created. So that's what Miro does. And kudos to Thomas Harley and everything else, but Harley is a different kind of player. He moves the puck from his own zone out. Miro drops one guy out of the equation once he takes off.
Okay, so I know there's a lot of talk about Corey Perry going after Leon Bischel at the end of Game 1.
Grandpa, yeah.
And in doing so, both players got asked about it. Perry yesterday, Bischel this morning. Both of them brushed it off, said they're just here to play hockey. It's just anger in a game. There's nothing expected to carry over, anything like that. I don't think it was a big deal. But here is a big deal. The Oilers taking penalties that they feel they can avoid, and it costs them big time in Game 1. So Corey Perry yesterday in their off day was asked about the Oilers' penalties.
I don't think it's been our edge that's taken penalties. We talked this morning. There's been a lot of stick penalties that we've taken, and if you cut those back, you cut down on what these guys do, going out and killing the penalties, and you could probably have a better number. on the PK because these guys are getting overworked because of our penalties. And, but at the same time, you still have to play on the edge. You still have to play hockey. You still have to do what the Oilers do, and that's our game.
I thought that was an interesting response when he was talking about these are stick infractions. We don't need to be because the question was about whether or not they had to walk the line of playing with an edge and taking too many penalties. He said, I don't think playing with an edge is why these are careless penalties.
They lost their composure.
Yeah.
That's what it was. That's all it is. And Corey Perry he's 1-1, right? And he's very similar to Tyler Seguin, the guys that 1-1. He's gone a long time in between. I was in that boat. And you get to a certain point, and Perry's been chasing it because he's been with a bunch of teams that are
he's gotten to the final a lot. Yeah.
I was at like 4 or 5 times I think he's been there. So
and on the losing side.
On the wrong side.
That's hard to do.
And so he won, if there's one guy that, and Corey Perry's a great player, and he is at the end of the road. And so when a guy like that talks like that, he's speaking like from here. Like he's saying, boys, we have to do this. There will be a time, and at the end of that game, for Corey Perry to be on the ice, there was a reason that the coach put him out there because he knew it probably was the right time to have him out there and say, we're not going to accept the way that we lost this hockey game. And that's a message to the rest of the group. Now they're going to clean it up. My question is, will they want to now take a step back from being a physical team? Because they've kind of found a way to be a little bit more physical through these playoffs. They've added players that can add that element to their game. Now maybe they step back a little bit, which might open up a little more space for guys like Tyler and Matt Duchene. And I loved seeing Tyler and Matt Duchene up there. And the reason that they're up there is they finally did something, like from a goal scoring standpoint. So we need to see them up there more often because Mikko Rantanen needs some help.
We're running out of time on our pregame show, but I had that. How much of a weight is lifted for Duchene to get his first goal of the playoffs?
Well, we'll find out.
Yeah.
I mean, that weight could come right back again.
It could.
You know what I mean? Again, I just think this whole show, the playoffs has just been, they got to quit leaning on their goaltender, like on Otter. Yep. Otter has been fantastic. There was a stat out there that, and this is an Edmonton thing, save percentage of 900 or better, and this is about Skinner, their goaltender. When 900 or better save percentage, the Edmonton Oilers are 4-0. Below that, they're 4-4. The rest of the league, when it's 900 or over, are 27-2. So that's not even a high benchmark. It's basically saying Skinner's got to be above that number, and so they need to find a way to do probably less in front of him, because I think there was a point there where they felt their goaltender wasn't doing the job, and so now all of a sudden they start jumping in lanes and trying to block shots and keep it out of the net, and now you just kind of compound the problem.
Okay, last minute thing, and then we've got to wrap it up. Oscar Beck is not on the ice for the warm-up per Sam. So it looks like Colin Blackwell will play his first game of the Western Conference Final. He's been a scratch for the last few games when they went 11-7 with Miro. Here's what we think might be the case. It could be Dodonov with Johnston and Ben. He did skate with his old line mates a bit in that third period. That, of course, with the special teams, it was hard to see. It could be Robertson on the left with Steele and Blackwell, which is wild to think of Jason Robertson on the fourth line. But what do you think about Blackwell in for Beck?
I would put him right where you have him right there. I just think there's a little chemistry between Steele and Blackwell. I like Blackwell, to be honest with you. I think nothing against Oscar Beck. But when Blackwell's on the ice and moving into the offensive zone, there's more chaos that happens once you get below the hash marks with him for whatever reason. I just find that he brings in a different kind of an element.
Do you think his speed fits against the Oilers a little bit better than
maybe
there's
a little more
Jets?
Speed there. I mean, there's speed, and he's a little bit of a water bug. I just think he can be more difficult to play against. Where Oscar Beck kind of goes in straight lines, and Blackwell can go a little east-west, and coverage, I think he can break things down a little better.
Okay, quick look at the defense. No expected changes, we think, although Lyubushkin did stay late, so there is a chance that Petrovic could play. Don't be totally shocked if that was the case. Well,
Sam just
Petrovic in, Lyubushkin out. Luds, your thoughts?
What were my thoughts before the playoffs started?
You thought they weren't going to mess with him.
I thought they should keep him in. So and it's nice that they're not playing 7. That's to me where Petro got a little out of whack a little bit, only because there was a couple goals that were scored when he was out there, and he made a couple mistakes on both of them. One of them, he had only played 4.5 minutes, and the other one, it was like 5 or 6 minutes. So there's no rhythm. So I think that Bichel and Petrovic have been a steady Eddie kind of pair that keeps things away from Otter more than the other group, and they play a little physical, and they move the puck. So I think you know exactly what you're getting with them, and that's nothing to take anything away from Lyubushkin. I'm just saying I thought those guys were a good pair. And I think and Bischel was, I think he's comfortable with Petro.
They're
and he
very
should be.
comfortable.
And I just think that there's things Bischel may be a little bit more apt to, a little more free rope, knowing that he's got a guy next to him that knows exactly what he's about.
It looks like it's going to be the same lineup for the Oilers. So a quick look at their forwards. Connor Brown is in. He didn't skate the warm-up or the morning skate today. He's been skipping those, but he was in game 1. He'll play game 2. We'll see if – I don't think he's fully healthy. Then take a look at the defense. Same group. No changes that way, although we did see Jeff Skinner filling in on Connor Brown's side, which was interesting because the talk in game 1 was, would it be Victor Arvidsson or Brown? It's going to be Brown. And then one last thing, Luds. I'm sure you've seen this online, but our good buddy Jeff Totes, who is a fantastic camera cinematographer, putting together all things video. He's just an artistic wizard. Well, this is the view that we didn't have for the postgame of Mikael Granlund's goal on the power play, and just check this out. What do you see from the shooter's angle here, Luds? We're going to loop it a couple of times because it looks like there's nothing there. It looks like he's going to hit Robo.
Well, look at the eyes of Skinner. They're down. So I don't think he even sees the release, to be honest with you. You got another one here? Look at watch his head. His head is down.
Oh, he has no idea.
Yeah, he doesn't know what it is. And credit to Robo, he was in front of the net. When he steps out, everything seemed to work for Dallas on that, right? I mean, it's. I don't know if he can find more of a perfect shot, but again, he's not close to the post. That's the other thing I would say. You would think he would be over it a little bit more to his left, but I just don't know if he actually knows where the puck is.
There's no chance he saw that.
The shot.
If you look at the beginning,
sure.
Robertson is standing right in front of him.
But the other guy, look at Wallman. Like Wallman's going down there too. So for me, that's not in that specific spot. I would slide. I'd lay down. When I lay down, like when you're up like that, you take the eyes away from your goaltender. But if you lay down, I had times when Eddie would just tell me, just lay down. Like you take the bottom, I'll take the top. And so Eddie kind of knew that you could do that. And I just think in that situation, if Wallman lays down, he can pick up the shooter earlier.
It's a heck of a shot. I don't know if Granlund is trying to pick that corner or if he's just trying to get it on net. But boy, does it look good in the end.
Yeah, I think, again, scouting reports, right? And they know where goaltenders are weak and where they're strong. And we've seen guys trying to go upstairs. So obviously that's part of it. All
right, that's it. On that note, game 2 coming up in just about 30 minutes. We will be here for the full post-game show right afterwards. Luds, myself, Sam over at the AAC, and of course our producer, John, as well. Thank you for joining us on the DLS pregame show. Go get that ball knower bonus. Sign up. Make your purchase, get double your money. If you get that right, will Mikko Rantanen record a point in Game 4? That will be on Tuesday night in Edmonton. If you get it right and you make that purchase, you will get a gift card for the same amount. So thanks for joining us. We'll see you postgame.
I believe that they are going to crush these guys tonight.
We all silly like the mayor.